God, we just want to say thank you. Just because you are great and worthy to be praised. Lord, you are so great and mighty, and I will forever praise thee. So great and mighty, and I will forever praise thee. You are great. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Serve. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Oh, Lord, you are so great and mighty, and I will forever praise thee. Lord, you are so great and mighty, and I will forever praise thee.
Yes. Yes. Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is your brother Malik Truth coming to you live from BU Network, and you are aptly tuned into Malik's Truth Radio Show. I am so glad to have you here with me this evening. You could have been any other place in this space and moment in time, but you chose to hang out with your brother Malik Truth just for a little while, and for that I say thank you kindly. Your brother Malik has had quite a challenging week. in personal life, and then also just meditating and trying to understand and wrap my mind around all of these suicides going on, from children to teenagers to adults, young and old. It's just incredible. Before I get started, I want to thank God for everything that He's done for me and you, for keeping us here, keeping us safe, clothed, sheltered, and spiritually healthy. I thank God for all of my BU network family and colleagues that are always here supporting one another. Again, support Vegas talent. Support Vegas talent. Man, I thank God for Natrell.com for always coming through and also giving us this platform to come to you guys and just enjoy life for a moment in time. Give you what you need for your mind, your heart, your body, and your soul. Yes, that's what we do here on Malik's Truth Radio Show. I give you the most relevant, fun, sometimes thought-provoking topics that are always good for your mind. Uh, I'm also, before I don't want to be remiss. Thank you, Alex, for always being there, bro. Man, I'm telling you, God is going to richly bless your sacrifices. Excuse me. And let me tell y'all, he started from as an intern, and now where he at now. So it is truly a blessing. Tonight's show is one of those uh, heart, hugging and touchy subjects, and that subject is suicide and depression. Tough topic, because it deals with an area of life that we all know we have to see and face. And our number will be called one day, but we don't never want to talk about it, which is why a lot of people don't have life insurance, because they don't like to talk about death. Touchy subject. And surviving depression. Surviving depression is something that needs to be harped on. It needs to be taught. And surviving depression is not just the person who's suffering from the mental illness or the psychosis. It's actually everybody around them that has to learn how to survive it. Because if we don't learn how to catch it, we don't know how to help that loved one that may be suffering from it. Amen. So, a lot of folks have a misunderstanding of the diagnosis depression, not understanding that depression can come from in and of itself just that overwhelming portion of the disease where it's clinical, where it really affects your life and others around you tremendously, or coming from the mental illness called bipolar, which is a low and an upside to that disease. That's why they call it bipolar, on opposite poles. All right, so depression, they say that heart attacks, strokes are silent killers, but depression is also a silent killer. That is why tonight's show topic is called Surviving Depression, the Other Silent Killer. We don't see it coming, y'all. We don't see it coming because oftentimes we do not know what it looks like, what it sounds like, how it behaves. And without that knowledge base, it is very hard for us to notice where one of our loved ones or even a friend needs that help. So let's go ahead and go into depression. Depression ranges in seriousness from mild to temporary episodes of sadness to severe and persistently in that state of mind, where depression is defined pretty much as it is in the dictionary as feelings of severe despondency or dejection. Not responding to life, dejecting life, isolating. Number two definition is the action of lowering something or presenting something as down. And this is what happens when that state of mind hits us. Everything that we once were happy about, we're no longer happy about. Things we're interested in, we're no longer interested in, so on and so forth. So if an individual is walking around melancholy, miserable, sad, unhappy, sorrowful, woesome, and gloom, you may not want to move to judgment so quickly. You may want to, have a small talk with them. Take them somewhere, have a cup of coffee, talk about life, talk about this, that, and the other, and then gently let them know, hey, I've been noticing, and I was wondering if I can do something to help you. If there's anything I can do to help you through this, talk to me, and let's see how we can work through this together. I need you. I need you here. I love you, and I need you here. So it's always different tactics on how to, really talk to somebody, especially when they're in that depressed state, because they really don't want to talk to anybody. They want to do what's called isolate, and that's to remove themselves from the light of hope, remove themselves from the light of God, remove themselves from the light and possibilities of others helping them. So a lot of times when people isolate, they isolate thinking that, removing themselves from the world, when they are removing the world from them. So people can't get in and you can't get out, because that's where your mind is telling you to be, in that state of mind. We're going to try to work today on understanding what these things are, understanding how they operate, and then definitely finding solutions on how we can help minimize the fatalities, the self fatalities called suicides, or the self murders, which is called suicide. Another form of depression is clinical. In its definition, clinical depression is more severe, from a depressive state, seriously or severe depressive state, that's usually known as a major depression or major depressive disorder, or clinical depression. So when we look about that, when we look at, motherless flower, yes, isolation is drowning everybody out. It's drowning out the light. It's drowning out hope. Um, and wow, so you know what that is. Definitely feel free to talk about it. Alex will be putting up the call-in numbers shortly. So yeah, definitely talk about it. That's what tonight's show is about. As you can see, I don't have any guests. It's just me, and my guests are going to be you viewers, you listeners that are sharing. So definitely talk to me. All right. So clinical depression is a diagnostic service manual, DSM, for that psychologists, psychiatrists use in that community. That a whole bunch of old white guys and a few handful of others got together in a little room and said, "This is what the diagnosis is going to be. This is what it looks like, or if it looks like this, this is what it's going to be named." So, like bipolar was once called manic depressive because of the mania side, manic, and then depressive side, which is depression. But they have changed that name, and they've renamed it bipolar, because you're on the opposite side of emotionality. And yeah, so that's a little history on that. So when we look at clinical depression and bipolar depression, the bipolar's depression is simply um, a momentary thing. It could last for a while, but it's not going to be static, because there's always a manic side or upside to bipolar. But clinical depression is something that can last a person throughout their life if they don't seek proper nutritional, environmental, social, and psychiatric assistance. They can very well suffer from it for the rest of their life. Absolutely. Not allowing God to intervene. God is our main source, and with God in us, we can do all things. Right. We can do all things. So just a little information on that. That clinical depression can affect a person at any age. Again, clinical depression can affect any person at any age, any race, ethnicity, does not matter, because guess what? Trauma and pain does not discriminate. It is completely indiscriminate. All right, so clinical depression can affect anyone at any age, including children. However, clinical depression symptoms, even if severe, usually improve with psychological counseling, antidepressants, combination of psychosocial assistance as well as environmental and nutritional assistance as well. Unfortunately, in the psych community, you know, is one thing that's plaguing every service and business community, and it's called revenue. So it would not uh, be befitting for a person who makes the majority of their money slanging pharmaceuticals to begin to talk to their uh, clients about holistic means. Because let me tell you, before there was Latuda, there was aloe vera. You feel me? Before there was any psychopharmaceutical drugs, there was nature. And we used the combination of herbs and flowers to get well. And these things are still being passed on by our folks, by others, because it is an awesome means. And even the medical community is talking about it, introducing that as therapy for mental health. That there could be, along with chemical balances, that the chemical balances may be off because the electrical system is not working because we're not getting the proper vitamins, nutrition, and minerals in our bodies. You feel me? So that's why taking care of our bodies is very important. Nobody's going to ever be completely perfect at it, but to work towards it is better than nothing at all. And big ups and shout outs to our brother Romario Hunt, who just got home earlier this morning from the hospital after congestive heart failure. His heart was functioning at 20%, and they got him back right. So thank God for that. And he actually did say that when he gets out, he's going to change a lot of the things that he eats and a lot of things that he does in his life. Everything, let me tell you, any trauma, any tragedy can lead to a different mindset because after that experience, he listened to the doctor. He was like, hey, the doctor must have told him you got some bad things going on in your lifestyle and your diet. You may want to start adjusting those things so you can increase your mortality rate. So when we talk about um, you know illnesses and traumas, again, nobody is ever going to be immune from them, and definitely changing your health helps a lot with these different mental illnesses. So definitely incorporate what's called a nutritionist and a holistic individual in your health or self-care regimen because it will help out a lot. All right, so we got our call in number 702-408-6892. Once again, that's 702-408-8692. 702-408-6892. All right. And we actually have another show. I think it's called Motherless Flower, Motherless Child, or something like that. Is that you, Motherless Flower? Coming in right after my show at 8 p.m. So definitely we won't be going over and taking advantage of that extra time like I used to. Y'all know how I did. So, but I opened up with Forgiven song "You Are," um, because when we look at God as the great I am, as our Father, as someone um, who we believe and know with all our hearts takes care of all creation, within and without of this atmosphere. And in knowing that is a start of curing any illness. Because he said, he whom the Son has set free is free indeed. Free from alcohol, free from drugs, free from lying, free from cheating, free from poverty, free from a sick mind, free from a hardened heart. He who the Son has set free is free indeed. So God is going to be our first defense in definitely handling or dealing with mental illness. Secondly, man, you got to understand and help them to understand how important therapy is. It's incredibly important. Therapy, we got to learn how to respect it, and we got to stop learning how to look at it as a taboo. Therapy with the right therapist helps out tremendously. Again, the name of the show is called Surviving Depression, right? I'm going to teach you how to survive depression. Now, depression, and when I say teaching you how to survive, again, I don't mean the person that is vexed with the psychosis or the mental illness. I mean you as the family member or friend, the caring individual who understands and knows that I see something awry about my friend or family, my loved one. I need to step in. We got to learn how to have the courage of stepping in. It ain't all about um, somebody minding somebody's business. Um, we're all in the business of saving one another. We're all in the business of loving one another. We always should be, because according to the book that a lot of us say we love, enjoy, and believe to be the Word of God, says in it that, again, he who the Son has set free is free indeed. And this last commandment I leave to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you love one another so men will know that you are my disciples. So loving one another means protecting one another enough to sacrifice ourselves, again, because the Bible says no greater love hath any man than to give his life for his brother. So, and your life doesn't mean your physical life. It can mean your time, your money, your attention, a lot of things that we really we don't want to give up before money sometimes. So I think we have a caller calling in. Caller, welcome to Malik's Truth Radio Show. Hi, caller, welcome to Malik's Truth Radio Show. All right, unfortunately, they didn't go through Alex, so you can go ahead and disconnect that call, and we'll see if they call back in. All right, Jeff Priest, Caleb the Carpenter. Thank you very much, sir. I'm just following God and trying to learn what He has for me to give to my audience and just people on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about surviving depression, we're talking about being able to look for signs. Because anytime you're surviving something or anything, you understand it. You understand what you're looking for. You understand what you're smelling. Your senses are keen. We need to start saving ourselves and our loved ones. You feel me? We need to start saving ourselves and loved ones by learning how to survive depression. All right, so here are some signs and symptoms when an individual can be in a depressed state. So, if a person that you know is almost always jovial, and they've had long bouts of just not being the jovial selves, you may want to have a conversation with that individual out of love and not judgment. If you see someone experiencing feelings of sadness, fearfulness, emptiness, hopelessness, and when I say that, emptiness and hopelessness is expressed usually through actions of communication, comments, statements, or lifestyle changes. So you wanna look out for those things. Again, I think we had a caller that just came through. I need to get you on the encounter with me, sir. You got it, Jeff Priest. That's no doubt. That is us. That is us helping one another out. Hey, is this Motherless Flowers? Hey, what's going on, caller? Welcome to Malik's Truth Radio Show. What do you have to give to the public? Hello, caller. I can't hear you. Okay. All right. We just lost another caller. It's all right. Maybe we're having some technical difficulties. We do apologize about that. Hey, I can't get on. I'll catch the rest of the show. All right. So getting on me through Motherless Flower. Are you trying to call in? Is that you trying to call in? If so, try once more, and we'll see if we can get that through. All right. So a lot of times, even though you think depression cannot manifest itself in anger, that is also one thing to look out for. Alex, that was Motherless Flowers trying to call in. So let's see if we can get her in again. We're going to go ahead and try that again, okay, Motherless Flower? All right. All right. An individual could be experiencing some angry outbursts, irritability, frustration, and this stuff usually triggered by small matters. I mean, it could be something as simple as somebody cutting them off, and that's all she wrote. Sleep disturbances, um, including insomnia, sleeping too much. You want to watch out for that as well.
Hey, I'm
Do we have
here.
we have the caller? Hey, this Motherless Flower.
Hello. Yes, it is.
Welcome to Malik's Truth Radio
Thank you.
Show.
We had a little bit of a hard time. I just wanted to just jump in real quick and just touch
Yes.
on that clinical depression. First
Hmm.
of all, let me just say thank you for giving such a good description of all of the different ranges of how depression and mental health can show up.
Thank you.
I think that there's a lot of big misconception of what that looks like for people.
Yes.
And for some people, it never shows up or you can't tell. I say this because I was one of those people. I was
Hmm.
diagnosed with clinical depression in 2015,
Hmm.
and but on the outside, it was perfectly normal. I looked perfectly normal to people, and so it's a real thing. And I'm so happy to see that you're addressing this. And it's important that we
Yeah.
understand the differences and what that looks like, because then people will hopefully get a better understanding of
Yes,
mental
ma'am.
health. It's just not a crazy thing, or it's more than that. It's an
It is.
emotional illness. It's
It's very,
a
very,
health issue.
very, very
It's a
spiritual.
very real
Yes.
thing. So I appreciate
Very
this.
real.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Motherless Flowers. And is there anything that you sell, services that you provide that you want to go ahead and plug?
Well, I don't have a service or anything like that, but I don't know if you're aware of it. But the podcast that I will speak on tonight will definitely address this and
Wow.
some other
Okay.
issues
So
and how that looks like in our
I'll see you
community.
before you set
Absolutely.
up then. Okay. Well, I'll see you shortly then.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for
Yes.
having me on. Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate
ma'am.
it. And I'm enjoying your show.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
best of luck
much.
to you.
Thank you so much. All
You're
right,
welcome.
y'all. You have just been listening to Sister Motherless Flowers, who will be the show that's coming on right after mine. Wow, awesome. All right, so yes, it is important that we understand the different manifestations of depression and the different diagnosis names for it, because it's very important, because we need to understand and learn how to catch folks. Okay, wow. Where do I start? Okay, everything that I've been talking to you about, it's not because we're glorifying depression or so forth. Um, we need to understand that depression as a mental health diagnosis is real, because it is that demon right there. It is that enemy right there that is very indiscriminate, because suicide and depression doesn't care what age or what race, ethnicity you are. It is coming to steal, kill, and destroy. And we have to learn how to fight back. Again, surviving depression, because it can lead to the suicide. They say that suicide has um, three stages, and that's always ide- idealizing about it, always having ideations or ideas, about what the world will be like without you, or how all your pain will be gone if you could only not be here anymore, things like that. And then there comes what's called the plan. You're planning how to make it happen. Am I going to use a gun? Am I going to use a knife? Am I going to use a blunt object? Am I going to jump out the window? Am I going to use pills? What am I going to do in order to make this happen? And then you decide on it. And then the third one is you actually carry the act out. Okay. Now the final one is up to God, because if He allows it to take the act to take your life, then your life will be taken. But many people have tried to take their lives, from jumping out of windows to shooting themselves in the head, and they lived. So it is truly up to God whether or not you're going to survive that ordeal. Um, let's go back into the notes, the comments real quick. Um, we got our sister Mika Mo. What's up, my love? Chocolate girl. That is my chocolate sister right there. She is a mime professional in the ministry. She said most of the time people don't understand it unless they have experienced it themselves. The most common method at this time seems to be pills. Absolutely. I spoke about that earlier. It is not in a professional's, especially psychiatrists, because again, they're the doctors. They're the one that can actually write scripts. It is not in their best interest monetarily to talk about holistic means. So, pushing the pills, the pharmaceutical industry is making billions, per month or maybe even a week, um, you know, pushing drugs. Absolutely, biggest drug dealers. It's not the kids on the corner. It's our government. All right. So, when we talk about depression being indiscriminate, okay, um, it doesn't care what background you come from. It doesn't care what religious or non-religious sect you come from. Doesn't matter where you are in life, social economically. When that enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy you, it's coming for you. It comes for preachers, bishops, pastors alike. Gentleman here by the name of Bishop Gaston. Again, that's Bishop Gaston. I think we got a picture of him. I used to go to his church a lot, Alpha Omega, over there in the West Side, and back in 2006 through 8, when I was in the ministry. Um, Unfortunately, Bishop Gaston was suffering from mental illness that I don't think many folks in his family uh, wanted to deal with or knew how to deal with. And well, he was very good at isolating himself. Um, good character actors, because people in a state of depression that have made up their minds to take their lives, man, they're going to be so happy-go-lucky you'll never even see it coming. Because everyone that has committed suicide, no one's seen it coming. Because even if the note comes before that, the note is always found almost every time after they've taken their life. So again, all this comes through isolation. So when you understand that a person's usual life or quality of life activities has diminished or is no longer there, you may want to start having that talk. Absolutely. We have another preacher by the name of Jim Howard. He also, as Bishop Gaston, was suffering from mental illness, and he wrote a note that said he just couldn't take it anymore. He needed to end it. The mental illness was too much to bear. Again, and these are people on Sunday that is being obedient to the will of God in their life, to go to you and give you everything that God has given them while they're suffering inside themselves. No judgment here. It is just the fact that because we are human and are fallible, that very easily we can become overcome and overtaken by the enemy in the form of mental illness. Both of these gentlemen are brothers. Again, Bishop Gaston, Asiatic Black, Jim Howard, Caucasian, both self-inflicted gunshot wounds. All right. And we're going to go ahead and show another picture. Again, being indiscriminate in socioeconomic status. We have two actors coming from the Disney Channel. One from that show Action Jackson or something like that. And the other one was from Chloe 101. Both Asiatic, both young. Not even in their early 30s, and passed away because of suicide, the spirit of depression. and just having that keen knack on being able to cover up their pain when they finally decided that I am going to do this. All right, so we have Lee Thomas Young. He also died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We also have Donny Hathaway. And if you don't know who Donny Hathaway is, if you've ever heard This Christmas, that was Donny Hathaway. And a whole bunch of other songs. Someday We'll All Be Free. Yep. And that's Layla Hathaway's father. Just recently, we had Ian Alexander Jr., whose cause of death was not released by our sister, Regina King. And then Kesley Christ, as Donny Hathaway did, both jumped to their peril. Kesley Christ, she jumped from her high-rise apartment, and Donny Hathaway jumped from a studio that he was recording in a high-rise. And wow, yeah, it goes on and on. And we had another Disney star, Simone Battle. I think she was about 30, and she died of self-hanging. Again, I said that this enemy is indiscriminate, right? And that it can and will take children. We have our deceased sister, Izzy Techner, who was a 10-year-old autistic child who could no longer deal with bullying, stop bullying, no tolerance, zero tolerance bullying. Amen. And then we have last Philip Spruill, 11 years old, again also bullied. When folks get to that point of hopelessness and have decided to start walking their way through the steps and the levels of suicide, they have made up their mind once they have accepted the fact that they have made a decision to end their life, that they are going to be committed to it, and they've made up in their mind that this is the only way that I can be free. Not understanding that God is your freedom. Understanding that greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. Once you begin your relationship with God and begin to start reading the Word and begin to see how loving and caring that Word is and how sweet it is in your life, then you begin to understand how to start applying those scriptures in your life. Those words in those books is more than just words. They are life. They are instruction. They are wisdom. They are a breath of fresh air. They are a ray of sunshine. They are knowledge, hope, and wisdom. They're more than just characters on a piece of paper. It's everything that can save our lives, especially in this situation. So when they've made that decision, unfortunately, they have made their decisions to say that I'm finally free of everything that has plagued me, has hurt me, has tortured me, has bullied me, has caused me stress, pain, has traumatized my life. I am now free. But God said, He whom the Son has set free is free indeed. Not he whom suicide has set free is free indeed. So we want to learn how to survive depression. And before we get into our break, I just want to thank everybody that's been tuning in. Do not go anywhere. We're just going to take a break. I see Tanisha Roberts just joined in. I'll acknowledge you, sister. Suffering in silence in the church. time to talk about that for real, for real. Yes, definitely. Unfortunately, it's not specifically geared on that tonight, but I will definitely consider having a show as such. And Tanisha, if you are here in Vegas, you can definitely join me as a guest. And if you don't, just make sure you join in that night that I discuss it, because you will definitely know about it. All right. So as I was saying, he whom the Son has set free is free indeed, and that living through God becomes our freedom, not living through depression. So we're going to go ahead and go to break and go right into our brothers and sisters from Forgiven with Finally Free.
How does it feel? Go ahead and just keep it real. Yeah. Cause you finally free, yeah. How does it feel? Yeah. No more bondage. Yeah. No more bondage. Yeah. You finally free, yeah. Lord, I wanna say thank you for all the things that you brought me through. This year was the hardest. The devil tried to put me back where I started, but you can get me like that just so easy. My God, he's got my back, keeps on fighting. He'll never leave me like that, never blinded. He's always fighting for me, no more bondage.
Cast out sickness, strongholds, disease, all the things not of him and my God. We must believe I'm finally free.
How does it feel? Go ahead and just keep it real. Yeah. Cause you finally free, yeah. How does it feel? Yeah. No more bondage. Yeah. No more bondage. Yeah. You finally free, yeah.
Don't let them tell you there's nothing you can't do. Cause prayer is the strength that causes a breakthrough. God is in control, just let him guide you. He's proud of your light, he will never hide you. Now pick your head up and walk in your victory. Put the burdens down and walk in your victory. We gon' let him know that we are not ashamed. We want the whole world to see. I'm free from the heartbreaks and pain of this world that's been dragging me down. I'm free from my insecurity, that's why I have so much joy when I smile. I'ma yell it from the rooftop. I'ma yell it from the gutter.
He showed it on the cross, he gave his life to prove how much he loves me, yeah.
Father God, we thank you right now because we are finally free. Because the Bible says, who the Son sets free is truly free indeed. No more shackles. You said no more chains. For we are free to worship you. And we thank you because we're finally.
How does it feel? Go ahead and just keep it real. Yeah. Cause you finally free, yeah. How does it feel? Yeah. No more bondage. Yeah. No more bondage. Yeah. You finally free, yeah. How does it feel? Go ahead and just keep it real. Cause you finally free, yeah. How does it feel?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You are still tuned into Malik's Truth Radio Show. Again, you could have been anywhere else in this place and moment in time, but you decided to hang out with your brother, Malik Truth, just for a little while. For that, I say, thank you kindly. All right, so you were just listening to our brothers and sisters of Forgiven. That's the number 4, then Given, Forgiven. And that song was finally free. Again, we are talking about surviving depression, right? Because we understand that depression is the leading cause to suicide. What is depression? Depression can either come in a clinical depressive state, which means it has a propensity to last the rest of your life, or it could come in the form of the bipolar episode, again, which was once known as manic depressive, which they now call it bipolar because there are highs, which is the manic side, and low, which are the depressive side. All right. So what does bipolar depression look like? Well, it's a part of a larger mood disorder called bipolar disorder. It's specific to the lows that you may be feeling. Lows again being the depression, hopelessness, the sense of deep failure and regret. Things that lead to you not seeing yourself past how you see yourself dying. So it's not conducive to you seeing yourself in a great, active, living life fashion over what you see yourself being as gone. And that is that feeling of hopelessness, the severe feeling of hopelessness during that point. Now, experts believe that there are a number of factors that work in the depressive disorders, whether it's clinical or bipolar. We understand that they're what's called mood disorders. Again, meaning that we are prone to having moods that are stable or somewhat stable, where the disorder comes in and just causes pure chaos in your emotional response to stimuli. Again, pain, trauma, hurt, disappointment, all of those. It becomes skewed. So your responses, your moods are erratic. So they think that has something to do with chemicals in your body, endorphins, serotonin, and so forth like that. And then others believe that it's an imbalance with not having the proper amount of or existing in your body vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. So all of that plays into part, which is early we were talking about learning to accept that therapy is good and therapy is not a bad thing, because when we do get proper therapy, we have an opportunity to go back from the decision to kill ourselves to seeing hope, and a person can come back from that decision to actually go through with it. Should they get the proper help and support system around them, again, they can come back from their level 3 final decision, which is to commit to taking my life. All right. Let me tell you something that staggered me in my research. It says here that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. That it is the 4th leading cause of death in adolescents between the ages of 15 and 19 globally, not just in the United States. It is the 4th leading cause of death for adolescents ages to 15 to 19 globally. In 2019, there were an estimated 3.5 million people who admitted they had planned suicide. Out of that 3.5, 1.4 million suicide attempts were actually made. And out of those 1.4 million suicide attempts that were made, 47,511 succeeded at their act. And they say that there's more human on human violence. Check this out. Firearms were involved in more than half of the suicide deaths. And there were more than twice as many deaths in this country by suicide than by homicide. Wow. I read that and it threw me back. And I was like, so you mean to tell me people are killing themselves at a greater rate than people killing other people? Wow. We got to really think about that for a moment here. Because when the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, he cannot have you around power. Let me say that again. When the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy your life, he can't have you around power. And I don't mean power from external, because God breathed his spirit in all of us, which meant us. We all have power once we can see it, understand it, and know how to use it. When you begin to understand and realize how great you are outside of the thoughts of suicide, your light is coming back. Which means that when you're around people, you're going to survive off of their light. But once that enemy has you by yourself, it's on and popping again. So again, the light that I speak of is the light in you. Folks, we need to learn how to gather around our loved ones. Again, I knew Bishop Gaston. Let's go ahead and show his picture again, Alex. I knew Bishop Gaston. I heard the brother speak. I seen he had polio, and he was getting around on his cane, happily married, but he loved the Lord. And he did everything that I seen him do that told the story with his life that he loved the Lord. But yet there was a light outside of the fire of praise and worship of that church building that was dimming in him. See what I'm saying? So again, it's not about the energy that you get from other people. Is that when your light begins to dim, the enemy can set up shop. If the light is there, he just gonna come a knocking. But when the light is there, he ain't coming in. When the light starts dimming, we begin to entertain the enemy. And the Bible tells us that we should give no place to the enemy. But unfortunately, many of us do. And it happens because it's a human thing. So at times, when we see our brother and our sister in error, those of you that are spiritual are the ones that are supposed to go get them. Because you know to allow God to use you in those moments and not yourself. This is the people who have been in a depressed state and isolating. Please go talk to your brother. Please go talk to your sister. Please go talk to someone whom you know you can trust, that loves you, and that would jump in that seat, in that boat with you to pull you through. That's right. Come up out of your room. You guys want to understand how to survive it? When you are fighting depression, you have to do everything the opposite of what it tells you to do. Because life is going to keep happening. Life is not going to slow down for any of us. Again, life is going to keep happening. And there's some triggers that cause individuals to go into states of depression. Breakdowns in relationships. Those are triggers. Being physically, sexually, or emotionally abused at any point in your development, in your life, could be a trigger to getting depressed. Loss of a job could trigger depression. Death of a close family member and loved one can lead to depression. That's why the sister that was on my show, Charlita, when her daughter Special passed away from fentanyl poisoning. I checked on her for a few months intervally just to make sure that she was okay and still, you know, doing the things that she was going to do for Specials Foundation. And proud to say that she's continuing on that journey of healing and pursuing setting up Specials Foundation. We have got to understand that even though these life-altering things come in our lives, that there's still hope. But we got to teach each other now to grasp hold onto hope. Everything's not going great in my life. And I'm having challenges in so many areas. But I remember and I am reminded that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And that is my flesh that can doubt, that can lose faith, that can get involved in activities that can cause my light to no longer shine. Yes, greater is he that is in me than my flesh. Because I don't give a dag what anyone else says. It's about what decisions I make that could not be conducive to my physical freedoms, mortality freedom, and spiritual freedoms. Absolutely. Hey, what's up, Yada? My sister came in a little late. I'm about to get up off here in about 5 minutes. But yeah, thank you for joining in, Yada. Go ahead and check out the replay once we set it up. But there is a hotline that I want to put up, and I'm gonna keep that up for, about a minute, even as I'm talking. You guys, please, please, please. I'm speaking to you guys who are going through it and listening to this show. After prayer comes works. Faith without works is dead. There's a hotline where you can talk to trained individuals who know how to use the tool of empathy. Help is available. Speak to someone today. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is available 24 hours a day in both English and Spanish. And if you just reach out to them and call 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. Help is available for you. Help is available for you. For those, again, who may have seen their loved ones go against their normal routines, and they have been in a slump. That's the easy way that we like to call it. We don't want to say depression. We like to say slump. It's not a slump. It's depression. It's a mental illness. They need your help now. So you go ahead and you grab them by the hand. You go buy them a dinner, a beer, whatever it takes to get them in your presence. And you have that talk and let them know I love you. And these are some things that I've noticed. How can I be of assistance, my brother, my sister? That's how we get down, y'all. That's how we get down, y'all. Let's go ahead and reduce this number. And let's make suicide the last thing people think of. And eradicate it to the point where people are not even thinking of it at all. But unfortunately, this is the world we live in. And the enemy is still given place. He is the father of this earth. And his job is to do as much havoc as he can before his time is up. So, in closing, depression is a very powerful and silent enemy. We have to and we must learn how it walks, talks, breathes, acts, smells, and feels. And when we know the enemy, we can then begin to fight the enemy. We can then begin to win the enemy over the enemy, and we can save our people from killing themselves. This has been your brother Malik Truth, and you have been tuned into Malik's Truth Radio Show. Thank you for hanging out with me for a little while, and God bless.